Population growth. This is an incident of population growth that's probably right here. Part of the reason we're here today is discuss stuff like this. You know, where you have 673 manufactured homes. I'm not sure how many people live in that home or whatnot. It brings in various levels of funding with all that kind of stuff. Suncadia, I believe, is only about 32% built out. So there's still expansion. It's going to grow. The demand for EMS services across the board, everywhere, the demand for EMS services always outpaces the funding source. And we're looking at a less than optimal funding source with some of these things.
Sure. So we talked before about BLS partners. Currently we're serving with 8 separate fire department response zones in Upper Kittitas County, including Fire District 1, which is out of Thorpe, but they extend up into the Heights region. So that includes the Cle Elum Fire Department, South Cle Elum Fire Department, Fire District 7, Fire District 3, Fire District 6, Fire District 1, Snoqualmie Pass Fire Rescue, and Roslyn Fire Department. So those are all of our BLS partners. A lot of them, as we said before, are volunteer responders from home. Some of them are mixed paid volunteer. The capabilities of each individual department can be kind of a moving target sometimes, as Geoff kind of alluded to before, especially volunteer departments. A lot of people have, obviously, day jobs, and they're not always available to respond. There's larger numbers of EMTs with certain departments and not so many with other departments, kind of just based on their areas. So each department is a little bit different from one another, but these are the ones that we're currently serving with. Our hospital district encompasses all of these areas. There's kind of a service map of all the fire departments in actually the entirety of Kittitas County. As Geoff pointed to before, there's Fire District 1, and we kind of cut off somewhere in there at the very edge of their district. But those are all of the different fire departments. Occasionally our operation will respond into Lower County as well as mutual aid, and vice versa with KBFR and Lower County coming to Upper County. So we do have a mutual aid agreement to work with KBFR. And essentially we have an obligation to each of these fire districts because, as I said before, we are the hospital district that covers everything. So we have an obligation to each of these individual fire department service areas to provide ALS service to each of them.
Looking towards the future, this is a nice slide of us training together. I believe we're training with Fire District 7 on this one, just a mock code. We try to train with various different departments all the time, trying to attend trainings in Cle Elum or Roslyn or District 6. We'll go up sometimes even to District 3 and help train with those folks too. Because that's very important to get out there and make sure we can help them, they can help us. So we're trying to always strengthen that relationships with BLS partners. We need to continue to monitor population trends and growth so we can ensure that we can always provide that advanced life support service, no matter what side of the jurisdiction that we're on. Strategic planning. We've been doing strategic planning a bit with the hospital districts. Rhonda will touch a little more on that kind of stuff. It's very important to grow relationships and improve stuff. Secure additional grants and to help supplement our funding. That is also a moving target. I think we got pretty good. We got some grants for community paramedicine, but I suspect in the future we'll see grant opportunities start to dry up. It's completely dependent on economics. And we also always have to be accountable to the taxpayer, because this is a nonprofit organization. And that's our presentation. Thank you again.
Good day, everyone. Thanks for the League of Women Voters for doing this. This is something that's not only important to Upper County, but it's important to everyone in the county. The Lower County is also having to address many many growth issues as well. So I want to kind of look at it a little bit different perspective other than just fire and EMS, but it includes all of it. So first of all, as we all are finding out, growth in our county is going crazy, right? We can all agree. One of the interesting pieces that I was involved in a while back, and so the County Conference of Governments is a group that is made up of county elected officials and elected officials, members of each of our city governments. They are an organization that periodically has to go in and do what's called population allocation. That population allocation means that we identify, or the COG identifies, based upon what estimated growth population percentages are within each of the individual organizations that I just talked about. What's interesting is the last time I was involved in that, the Department of Commerce from the state sent us this interesting rate that says, we're estimating a 2% growth in Kittitas County. And that was a big laugh. Because we all knew it was going to be about 5%. But one of the requirements was that if you're going to do something different than that, what they estimated is you have to go through a whole big process to justify it. So COG decided, the county decided not to do that. So what we did is the best job we could to identify those allocations. What population allocation does is it identifies funding based upon population and population growth within each of these areas for certain different things that occur coming from the state and federal government. So that's always interesting. So let's take one more step further. COG also is an organization that annually advertises and receives grant applications from our different organizations throughout the county for infrastructure improvements. We have some issues in our county when it comes to infrastructure. We look at the growth that we're talking about. We've already had one entity where we've had issues and concerns about being able to get water to fight fire. And they're in the process of moving through that. So one of the things I want to mention is full disclosure, I'm also a commissioner for KVFR. And I represent KVFR on the KCON board. So this, and as well as my almost 18 years as county auditor. When we look at these increases in population growth and the increases that we're going to need for infrastructure, one of the biggest concerns I have is, are these communities and are these areas going to be able to provide the infrastructure improvements and additions that are going to need in order to satisfy this? We talk about water. Water is not only for your personal use, but it's also for fighting fire. We don't have the pressures and the volumes that are needed to provide and feed the apparatus that we have at an incident. It causes major issues. What that means is we got to be prepared to pull in tenders from everywhere we can, and those are the big trucks that haul water as quickly as we can in order to feed those structure pumper engines. They take a lot of water in a big hurry. So those are the kind of things that I think about too, is when we feed and looking at this growth, is to ensure that we have the opportunity to be aware of infrastructure problems or infrastructure needs that we're going to have in order to provide emergency services. Does everyone here live in a fire district? Are you sure? There are a lot of people in this county who do not live in a fire district. And unfortunately, some of those people don't realize that. In the last few months, we've had at least 2 incidents of major structure fires outside of a fire district. One of the families had real major concerns about response time to get there and whether or not anyone was going to come. And then when someone gets there, what they do is they sit there and watch the building burn. That's problematic. I know that each time within KVFR, when we have people build outside the district, we try to provide information to them that they do not live in a fire district, and should they wish, we can provide them with the ability to annex into the district. Some do, some don't. But when you have an incident like that, it's it's sad that the district's not going to respond outside of the district because we have an obligation to the taxpayers within the fire district. Every one of the fire districts in this county has those kind of concerns to try to deal with. It's a problem, and we're trying to figure out how to manage that. So people get upset because nobody responded to their phone. If there is a life-threatening issue, then yeah, there is a response because of that specific piece. But it's concerning. So we need to look at what's going on. And there are many people who live in this county who think they're in a fire district, but they're not. We find that out all the time. As county auditor, I got lots of phone calls regarding why didn't I get a ballot from the fire commission? Because you don't live in a fire district. Oh, outside of the fire district, you're also going to pay a lot higher fire insurance premiums if you can even get fire insurance for those structures. So there are, as was pointed out a little bit earlier, there are a lot of different fire districts within the county. There's also 2 hospital districts, which Geoff talked about. And what's really interesting is the service area of those 2 hospital districts, which now EMS provider is KBFR Hospital 2, are quite interesting. So we should always take an opportunity to look at the map. And it's thankfully, I agree that Hospital 2 now has the mutual aid agreement for the Teanaway to be able to provide service up there, because that's really KBFR's area, which is crazy. In my opinion, that's the way it was developed when we first started the hospital.